welcome to episode 2 of the Glitter and Sage podcast. My name is Melissa and I am your host, and I am so excited to share this episode with you. This is the first interview that I recorded for the podcast, and it's actually an interview with one of my favorite bands, Calliope Musicals. I'm also just feeling really high energy today because it's a Sunday, and on Sundays I start my day with virtual ecstatic dance that my friends host on Zoom. It's called Eye Opener. I'll share the link to that in the show notes if you feel like dancing on Sundays. And in this episode, we actually talk about ecstatic dance and just about the power of dance and how powerful it is to move our bodies. So you will hear all about that. And this interview we actually recorded 1.5 years ago about when Calliope Musicals was on tour, sharing the music from their new album called Color Sweat. And so that day I saw that they were playing a show that night in New York City. And at this point, I hadn't recorded any episodes to the podcast yet. It was still just an idea. And I was living in Rhinebeck, New York. They were playing in New York City. That was only about 2 hours away. So I messaged them on Instagram to see if they would be my first interview. And they said yes, which is just also such a good reminder and lesson that sometimes if you ask for what you want, the answer can be yes. So I was really excited they agreed to do the interview. I went down to the city with my friends Jackson and Jeff. We got all dressed up in glitter and some really fun costume outfits before the show and drove down to the city, and my friend Marissa from college met us down there, and it was the first time I saw her in like 1 year. So being at that show with my friends, and we just had such a great time dancing to their music. I had seen Calliope Musicals once before, about 1 year prior in the city, so I already knew how fun their set was live, and they have such great visuals and such high energy that their live shows are just wild. So originally, when I was talking to Carrie, the lead singer, about doing the interview, we were talking about maybe recording in the van, the two of us, after the show. But then when the show ended and the venue cleared out, we realized we had the whole venue space. So we ended up recording this interview sitting on the floor in the venue right after their show with the whole band and my friends in the circle. And we just had such a fun conversation. And so in the interview, some of the things we talk about are their album, Color Sweat. Also some stories from some of the shows and festivals they've played at. They speak on how they show up for their music, whether there's 10 people or 200 people in the crowd. And then at the end of the episode, Carrie leads us through their pre-show ritual. So as you're listening, I invite you to breathe along and follow with us. Also, I want to note that right now I'm wearing some of their merch. This shirt says, "I am melting into space," and it's some lyrics from their song Cosmic Poison Arrow. So you definitely have to check out that song. Also, I got from them at this show one of my favorite pieces of merch of all time, which is a pair of high-waisted underwear, and their lyrics, "I will not fear this body," hand embroidered on them. So I will definitely share a photo of that on my Instagram this week for you. And so this interview was recorded about 1.5 years ago. And just last week, they came out with a brand new song. It is called Can You Tell Me? And I love it. so much. I will share that in the show notes as well. Also, last week, I want to note that their song That's Why We Dance was featured in the new Netflix show Ginny and Georgia, which is now the #1 show on Netflix. So big congrats to Calliope Musicals for that feature. That's amazing. I'm so happy that your music is being shared all over. And I spoke with the band this week and they gave me the okay to share with you guys a clip of Can You Tell Me? So we can dance to that and dance our way into the interview. Enjoy.
We're here. Okay.
Hello.
Check. Check.
Okay. Check. Okay. I'm in New York City right now with Calliope Musicals
What's
from
up?
Austin, Texas.
Hello.
Hooray. Just had an amazing show with Leanna Gables. And we're at Pianos on Ludlow Street.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we've got Carrie, we've got Craig, we've got Jerry, Josh, Joe, Ryan.
Yeah, that was
That
in
was
order.
great.
too.
Fantastic.
You not only said the name of the band right, but got all of our names
Gotcha.
right, which is maybe the most impressive thing.
Yes. And you have a brand new album out. You're in the middle, or the beginning of your tour, the Deep End tour.
For like a weekend.
You're a weekend, but you have so many dates. It seems like
Yeah,
you've
a lot
been
of
for a
dates.
while. You were in like New Orleans, Birmingham, Athens, Nashville, Philly, Brooklyn, and now here.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven Nashville to Philly?
I have not.
You should try
How
it
was that
sometime.
You should not.
It's a trip.
How
not
big is the
recommended.
van?
It's pretty big,
It's
actually. You can
amazing.
stand
As
up.
big as it can be.
Somebody who's 6 feet tall can stand up in it upright without having to bend
It's
over.
a
so
large
it's pretty
Sprinter
big.
van, and we
Nice.
Fill it.
Josh, I should say, built the back section of it in such a way that there is a bed built up over where all of the equipment is stored and whatnot.
One bed that all 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6
No,
of you snuggled in.
We
We
actually
all-
did have to sleep in there on Saturday night
Yeah,
in
2 days
Brooklyn.
ago.
It was not planned, but we did end up sleeping there. It was not. We were not thriving.
We had 5 people
It
in
was-
there. So
We were not thriving.
we had 5 people in the car, and it was a sleeping situation fell through, and we were able to not make anything else happen, and we had a good parking spot, and so we just kind of
We did it.
loaded up.
We just did it.
And
Do you have a tent in the car as well?
We do.
Like,
We do.
Yeah.
But
That's
Brooklyn
perfect.
doesn't have many spaces
Well,
that
how
we
much
can
camping?
pitch
I
in.
mean,
Actually, we're going
no
to
Central Park
no
camping.
festive
No.
friendly vibes here.
we're going
Best
to a
family
festival
vibes.
in Canada where we're going to
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no pitching
Yes.
a tent on DeKalb in Brooklyn, that's
No,
for sure.
they do not take kindly to that.
Yes, so the festival you're going to this weekend, Evolve, was actually one of the first videos I saw of you.
Oh,
I guess I'll
awesome.
start by
That's
saying...
from like a few years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I'll start by telling how I found you guys. A couple of years ago, I was working in a job where I was in a cubicle and with no windows.
No.
My plants would die. And every day on my lunch break to escape and like find some peace and grounding, I would go to this park and just like eat at this park. And on this one day, it was pouring rain, so I couldn't sit outside on my bench. So I sat in my car and I had the radio on EQX, the alternative independent radio station in the area of Albany. And
I'm freaking out already.
Echo of the Woos came on, but I didn't know what it was. So I just was like, what is this happy, amazing song about peace and is the song and love is the vibe? And I was like writing down the lyrics. I was like, I have to figure out what the song is later. And I Googled it. And then the session at Utopia Festival, of you barefoot in the grass,
Oh my
came up. And like, that's still the video I bring up when I show people, you guys.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
God.
And then that I was just like hopping YouTube videos, and then I saw the 2015 video of you
Yeah.
guys at the festival. And
Yeah.
you start with Deo.
Yeah.
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 You said it, we said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was a-
I haven't watched that in so long.
Great. I love that you.
That's how you
And you dug it?
open. That's how you
That's
open.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
you
We
dug
haven't
it?
done
Yeah.
that in so long.
I watched the entire like 2 hour
Awesome.
live thing.
That's incredible.
It was so good.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and then my favorite part of that was I couldn't figure out what song this was when you came out and sat on the ground and handed out candles.
It's called Velveteen
everyone?
on our record. But yeah,
Which
we
album
call
was
it
that?
Peaches. It's on Time Owes You Nothing, our first record.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sat on the ground and handed out candles and lit them, and everyone was screaming together and making bird sounds.
Yeah.
That was
That
so
sounds right.
adorable.
That sounds like us.
Natural part of the progression.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
I still don't know how to play that song, and it has been my task for like this tour to learn how to play Peaches because we know we're gonna do it at some point.
Hey, you got it.
I'll
got it.
He's got it.
It's gonna be
He's got it.
literally you're
be
gonna play
fine.
it the first time and then you're never gonna question it ever
Yeah.
how to play
You'll
it.
be
That's
like,
true.
I'm
Everybody's gonna freak
nervous.
out, and you're gonna
We
love
got
it.
like
Yeah.
all the way through it in practice one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But that was the last time I played it.
Well, I think that would be a good one. That was a very good live session. So seeing like that, and then also another like video I came across when I was just hopping YouTube was like you guys playing in a basement somewhere in Austin.
We played a lot of basements, so
and
maybe.
it was that woke up
Oh, was
song.
it the?
Oh, that was the one
Christmas
you made. Yeah. It was the Lightsey house.
Oh yeah, like yes, yeah.
We
Yeah,
played the
whose
acoustic
house was
set.
that?
That was.
Our old
was
lead
Chris's
guitar
old
player's
house.
house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sweet. Was that like at the beginning?
Was that your sessions?
Like that was like a very
Jerry,
cute.
so
I mean, it's
Jerry
4 years
filmed.
ago, at least.
Jerry filmed that. That was before Jerry was really in
Austin
the band.
Underground, I think.
Before he was the
Yeah,
cat, the
he
band's
also-
cat.
The confetti cat. Yeah.
The confetti cat.
Jerry was like a videographer. That's kind of how we met Jerry. He was just filming things for first stuff for our band, and then for like this collective we had going, Circus on the Moon.
Cool.
And yeah, that woke up video was one that he made for us.
I love that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glad you liked it.
So do you do the visuals, like the projection
He
screen?
pretty much
Yeah.
does all that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's different every time. Like last time when you guys were at Arlene's Grocery, it was a lot of like rainbow swirls.
yeah.
Oh, it does change a little bit.
The thing
though.
about Arlene's too is we had a theme for each show, so I changed the show every week.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we had
Right.
one week was Rainbow Rave, one week
Toxic
was
Waste.
That might have been the one I,
Waste.
or camp.
You
maybe it
probably-
there for camp.
One was
there
camp.
camp
Oh,
theme?
that was an acoustic one we did.
and
yeah.
then one was
Was there a rainbow? So maybe
Murder prom or like
Murder Prom.
Yeah.
it was some
Zombie
sort
Prom.
of zombie prom.
Yeah.
Zombie prom, I
Yeah.
think was.
So those shows were all pretty different.
More about zombie prom.
Well,
Ooh,
so
yeah.
we were playing on Halloween in Brooklyn, in Manhattan at Arlene's Grocery, and we were just like, I mean, we did this residency, so like Jerry was saying, like every show was a different theme. So we had the first one I think was Toxic Wasted.
There was an alien one too.
Oh,
there was a
was
campfire
Yeah.
show too. The
Campfire.
acoustic stuff.
There was the Rainbow Rave, and then one was on Halloween, so we did like the zombie prom,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like it was bloody.
It was
We
great.
had like fake
was
blood, which
Yeah.
is like Jerry's like bread and butter,
I mean,
bread and
There's a
butter.
lot of fake blood.
I've been to a Guar show with this man before. And
Yeah.
I can
When's Guar and
Are we going to
Yeah.
post
Halloween?
Halloween
Totally
Guar
going.
in Austin?
I don't.
The day after
Sorry, I'm
Halloween,
going.
Guar is playing in Austin, so we're playing on Halloween, and then we're gonna go see Guar the next day.
Band field trip.
The different images and the videos that you guys do, is that like pre-planned?
That's
based
all
on
him.
what
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
set you
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah, I
do,
have
or how
it.
do you?
I
figure out
have
what-
it all keyed up to like, all right, this is what's happening for
This,
the
it
verse,
it
this is
paired
what's happening for
perfectly.
the-
Yeah, a lot of
Based
them
on
fit
what
the
you
song.
knows exactly what
when
you-
you're
Yeah.
playing.
Oh,
It's
Yes.
more catered to the song. I feel
yeah, it's
like.
more catered to the song,
definitely is,
but we
yeah.
always have to adjust to everything.
Yeah.
you know?
So our set list changes every night. It's never
Okay.
the same set list. So we
Rarely, yeah.
mix and match songs, and so you, with the vibe of the whole night, it kind of changes.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm always glad you play Echo of the Woods. I like, that's my favorite one
We'll put it-
still.
This was one of the first
All right,
times
Craig.
we did it this
All
tour.
right.
Actually.
Is
I'm
my
so
point
happy
made?
it was here. That one's always that's like my happy song that I put on. The Utopia session. That's
Yeah.
like my like
Utopia's a blast.
happy
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
something
Utopia
that
Fest.
when
Have
I
you ever
Usually
been to
come to
Utopia
Utopia
Fest?
No.
You should go.
Yeah.
Totally go.
Where is
It's
that?
It's
Utopia,
in
Texas.
Texas.
It's in Central
Yeah.
Texas. Yeah.
It's
I'm
like
dying to come down.
our friend throws it, and it's like one of the most.
It's one of the most fun I've ever.
It was
fun
one of my
Shout out to
favorite
Travis
days.
Sutherland at
Shout out.
Utopia.
We
Fest.
love
sure,
you.
100%.
We love you.
Travis.
guys.
It was
Yeah.
one of my favorite days of last year. I literally was on tour with another band and I flew in to make that festival last year, and it was by far one of my favorite days of last year for sure.
We as a band have only not been at Utopia 1 year in the last
And it was
6 years.
because we were in New York when it was happening.
Last year
yeah.
or 2 years ago when it was happening.
Sweet. So when is that one?
It's usually November, October.
November.
It was early November, I want to
Yeah.
say, this time around.
They move
Yeah,
around
it's
a
so
little bit.
fun. It's one of our favorites.
It's a pretty
It's
magic
like small
space.
fest, like
Yeah.
2,000 person cap.
Cool.
Just like everyone's
Good
looking
ones
out for
where you
each
Family
other.
friendly.
everyone, you hang out with everyone.
Yeah.
Who else plays at that you guys love?
Oh, like
man.
Rubble Bucket, Tune
Rubble
Yards,
Bucket's
love it.
amazing.
I love
It's
Tune
fucking
Yards,
amazing.
Town to
Love
Get
Rubble
Down,
Bucket.
Stay Down.
Love
Right before
Yeah.
STS9.
STS9.
They got
Where
STS9
was-
last year,
what
that's
was
right.
The people right after us on the next.
I mean,
Okay,
they had
when is
Victor
it?
Wooten a couple
Maybe,
years
maybe,
ago.
Yeah.
maybe we'll fly
amazing.
out.
End of October, early November.
It's like October, November.
Yeah, y'all should come. I mean, the weather's great, and
It's
late
beautiful.
October, early November in
It
Texas
was
is cool.
beautiful
Yeah,
outside.
it's great.
Yeah, we did an acoustic
I'll be
set
there.
earlier in the day, and then did
Yeah.
the like full band set later on that night, and it was.
And they have a thing called 10 Good Times, which happens late
shout
at
out to
night.
2 a.m. acoustic
Times.
sets. It's
What up,
great.
Cody?
They,
What
like
up?
after all the main stages shut off, they have like
Silent.
acoustic bands play like
Chill.
on the hill, and it's like
I mean, it's no PA,
Late night
and it's like
magic.
200 people that
Yeah.
are quiet enough
They're
to hear
silent.
acoustic instruments.
they've
and
actually
people singing
changed
with
the
no
name
mics.
to Camp Shh Times.
Yeah.
Because people, if you
It's
start
hilarious.
talking,
That's true.
people will be like,
That's
shh.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Everyone's like,
But
it'll
it
be the
is-
quietest, most acoustic, nice, beautiful.
And then everybody's
sound.
like, blah, blah, blah,
and you
blah,
hear
blah,
somebody in the back be like,
And
and
you're
then you
like,
just
Wow.
it's
right.
awesome.
That's right.
with
If
200
you like
people.
quiet
and
shit,
it's,
Yeah.
that's your place.
that's
Wow.
impressive.
Pretty
Yeah.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
very conscious.
respectful.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of a
And
listening room than any room I've ever
Meditative,
been
yeah.
in.
It's cool.
And late night, like,
And like
calming.
two-
I've had some beautiful
We
moments.
did
Oh.
Old Settlers with them as well
Yeah, we
too,
did, yeah.
which is another Austin festival that's more geared towards like
Yeah,
folk,
folk,
and
yeah.
acoustic and country sort of acts, but it's very cool stuff.
That's amazing. I was looking at the lineup in Canada this weekend, and Rising Up Alicia's playing
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh,
You should come.
Yeah, you should go to Canada.
I know.
We
How's
can
your
put you
second-
on the
honestly,
guest
You gotta
list.
remember
The
the
most-
bus.
The most
can put you on
friendly
the
festival
list.
that I've ever been to.
Yeah.
It's
Wanna
be a
amazing.
polar bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah, so can I dress up as a polar bear?
Yeah.
There's always room for people to dress up.
Well, I actually
Polar bears in
was
this
at Mountain Jam a couple of weeks ago, and
We were talking about that earlier.
I ended
yeah.
up joining this puppeteer group
Oh.
that was doing Bella's Bar Talk, and they had like also these giant puppets with like alien faces with sticks in their hands,
So
and
cool. Is that in New Jersey or New York?
it was on
Mountain
the
Jam,
original
right?
Woodstock grounds in Bethel Woods.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should have gone.
Yeah.
Did any cow's milk
We had
turn
a
green?
chance to go
Yeah.
there.
Is it what?
Did any cow's milk turn green?
I don't
All
know.
of the cow's milk turned green.
I don't know what that
Woodstock.
means.
I don't know either.
all
but
the-
I've
they're all
read
on
every
acid,
cow's
Josh, is that what
milk
you
turned
say?
green.
No, all the farmers after Woodstock were like, all our milk went bad because of your rock and roll music.
I've never
I
heard
feel like
that
the milk
before.
would
That's
be
awesome.
like
That was like
magic.
one of the flood of lawsuits against
Dude,
them.
I've
Was
never
like-
heard that before.
I haven't
Not
either.
We're
once.
like, you ruined our cow's milk went bad because it's Dairyland.
I mean,
They
it was
didn't
the
have
same
that
thing
in
with
the
the
museum.
like the studies with like house plants where they would like play rock
Totally.
and roll for house
Yeah,
plants and they would play
they
classical music
grow.
and be like rock and roll's evil because it kills these plants.
Right.
type
And it
situation,
kills
you know what I
milk.
mean? Did you ever hear
It
about
kills
those?
lactose.
Like,
I didn't hear about that, but like, I mean, I remember.
There was like it
people
was a whole
talking
set
shit
of
about it.
experiments, excuse me, in I don't even know the decade to be honest, but it was a huge thing. I don't know.
Have you
Let's
heard
go back
Jimi
there
Hendrix's
and, like,
version
party.
of Star Spangled
Oh,
Banner?
yeah.
Yo, of course.
There's no way that curdled milk.
No.
Yeah.
No, it
Well,
made that
I
milk
think
better.
it's.
Must have been like-
I think it
Yeah.
Pasteurized that
It
milk.
did curdle milk.
If
There was no
pasteurized
curdled milk before
if
that
any
solo.
song,
Yeah, curdled milk wasn't a thing before Jimi Hendrix played that
Oh
song.
man, what's the
was
name? Is it Joan Baez that does the acoustic set? Towards the
Yeah,
beginning
there's a
of
lot
that
of
movie?
wet spots right here. You gotta be careful.
There's like some female singer that does like acoustic sort of folk stuff at the beginning of that DVD that's absolutely incredible. But I'm pretty sure it's Joan Baez.
I think it's probably Joan Baez.
Joan Baez?
I'm pretty
That sounds like Joan
right?
Baez.
Like that's like towards the if you've ever watched the Woodstock DVD, that's like one of the first sets on.
She sings "How Many Roads Does a Man Walk Down Before He Becomes a Man?"
Yep, that's the one.
So
Yes, the 50th anniversary is this year.
Did y'all buy your tickets?
Well,
music
when they tried to have a festival, it was a shit show. It was a big shit show.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's
like
on.
everyone's got.
They should not try to have that
Fire
show.
Fest feelings.
Yeah.
Everyone's got Fire
Yeah,
Fest feelings.
it was gonna be.
It's like
so
everybody's
fun.
like, if it's even half as bad as Fire Fest, we're not doing it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
everybody's really
It's gonna
scared.
be on an island
Yeah, right.
God.
with zero supplies.
Yeah,
That was
right.
supposed to be a sick festival too.
I mean,
know.
it was gonna be if they had the amount of funding and
I
people
lost so
behind
much
it that
money
were
on my
supposed to.
ticket.
Wasn't Dead and Company
get it?
one of the headliners?
I don't know if they were or not, but
I think.
sure.
I think by
I mean,
saying.
Blink 182
Stay
dropped out of the
tuned.
festival. One of the first bands to
Stay
drop
tuned
out of the
for
festival.
radio.
If Blink 182 says no,
Fire Festival,
then
yeah, they
it's
dropped
not
out
even-
because they
like-
knew what was going to happen. They were like, "We're not playing this festival."
And it's 2/3 Blink 182 because it's Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio as the lead singer now. They kicked Tom DeLonge
no
out
shit.
about a year and a half ago. So
he
it's-
left.
No, he
No,
left
he left.
to go search for
You
aliens.
gotta look for aliens, dude. Get your
Searching
story
for
straight.
aliens his whole
Oh
life.
man, okay.
And now he chose to
Yeah.
do that.
Can we
instead
please
of
talk
He's got all
about
the money
It
he
was probably
needs
founded.
now.
Can
And
we
he can look
please-
for the
You're about
aliens.
to get derailed.
Yeah, no, too late.
Reel it back in, children.
I'm just gonna say.
This is the first interview. You can't let it go off the
Okay,
rails.
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back in. Everybody
Let's talk about
reel
the
it
new
in.
album some more. Let's go to you guys.
The color of the sweat. The color of the sweat.
Tom, we're talking about you
I'm very
later.
curious about the artwork on the new album. I love that it's a cat, and I love that there's an ice cream cone dumped on his head.
Wait,
It's
what is it?
there's-
Is it
it's
a
a
dog or a
cat.
cat?
I don't know if it's a cat or
Okay.
a dog.
It reminds
Puddles.
The
me
artist
of an
is
alien
amazing.
cat.
Her name's Gracie. She lives in Dallas.
Gracie from
and
Dallas. Thank
she's
you, Gracie.
Are You Party Dog is her
Are-
So
Instagram name.
dog,
Maybe a dog.
but I mean,
Up for interpretation.
yeah. I mean, I think it's like floating in the space between a cat and a dog.
It's kind of like
She
a,
wouldn't mind if you called
kind
it
of-
what she
Okay.
didn't mean
It's
it
like
to
a
be.
dog
She
that-
is
You
just
guys
an
love
artistic
cats
thing.
so
Yeah,
much.
we
I
do
do.
love cats. It's
true.
true.
Like I do. And
Guilty.
That's
They're
part
soft
of
and
how
cute.
the name came up, the glitter and sage. Sage is the name of my cat.
Oh,
Nice,
Yeah, little gray tabby cat.
Who's
And
Glitter?
Her name, when I adopted her, when she was 3 months old, her litter at the
Oh yeah, they give like theme names.
her litter, yeah, it was themed names. They were all that 70s show characters with cat puns.
Oh my god.
So her name was Lori Furman instead of Foreman.
That is so funny.
But, so then when I took her home, holding her in the car, I'm like, you're not Lori. And she's like,
You're no sexually exploratory
baby
70s
cat. You're just a baby cat.
We're not putting that
And
energy
her
into
white like stripes on her stomach look like smoke. Like, you know when you burn sage, the smoke is thick and white and flowy.
Yeah.
And so I knew she was Sage. And
That's so sweet.
so that's her name. So then this whole name came from, so that was Sage. And my roommate, when I lived in Kingston, she made our Wi-Fi password. Our Wi-Fi username was Unicorn Snot. And the password was Glitter and Sage.
Oh,
Nice.
And I was
funny.
like,
Nice.
wait, that's like us.
That's good.
That's us. Glitter and
great
Sage.
name.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we had a venue for a little while in Austin called
I mean, it
Called the
was a
Glit-
house thing.
it was a house.
A house show.
But yeah.
Venue.
It was called the Glitter Pit,
The Glitter Pit.
and
Yeah.
it was hosted
Really apt
sometimes
name. It was
I want
really
to go
good.
there.
by DJ
was-
Glitter Spit.
Glitter Spit.
Yeah,
I think
at the Glitter Pit.
actually the Glitter Pit is sort of the reason that I ended
Yeah,
up joining this band
Totally.
because
You
I came
bartended at that
to
show.
well yeah well like so I hadn't seen you guys in probably at least a year or more maybe at that
Yeah.
point, and I was playing in this band called Purple for a few years, and then I came down to South by like sort of last minute, not even intending to. I came down and heard from this artist from Austin named Dr. Joe that he was playing the house the next day. I was like, oh sweet, I don't have any plans for 1 p.m. on Wednesday during South by, so I went over there and showed up, and they didn't have a bartender for the free bar that they were
I
running,
mean,
and I
we
was the only-
did. She just wasn't TABC certified.
And I just happened to show up, and I was bartending at the time, so I had my certification from the state, and then hung out for the show. And then a month later, I came down to come
Yeah.
buy my car, and I was recording a record with another band, and was playing guitar with Chris You guys
Yeah.
were. Him and I were like shredding guitar
Jamming
together, and that was the
together.
first time I
Sweet.
think you guys
Yeah.
had ever seen me play guitar. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. At the Glitter Pit.
That's
At
right.
the old-
At the
The
glitter.
Glitter
At the
Pit
Glitter
was a
Pit.
magical space.
It is a
Wow.
magic space. I wish it was still there.
I did too.
Picturing
It's
a glitter pit to be somewhere where I'm rolling around naked in glitter.
I mean, you could
You
have.
could do that
yeah.
at this house.
That's
It's
allowed.
possible.
Jerry made it.
It was a house? It was like a house venue?
it was a house, and we lived there, and then
Oh, nice.
someone bought the
All
house.
of you? The whole band?
No, me and Josh. Well, me and Josh, it was our house, and we're married. Oh,
where's the whiskey?
No, we're not.
Josh and I lived there, and then people would come and like live with us intermittently. Chris, our old guitar player, lived with us. Then Jerry lived with us until it was like over. And then we moved out and turned it into a house venue, and just like
Cool.
Jerry covered the walls and like magazine pages,
Cool.
and we filled it with
It looked like a hippie serial killer's house.
Sweet.
yeah.
Sweet.
It did. It was awesome.
Like
It was called the
Zodiac's
Glitter Pit.
house
That was your
and-
house?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna die, but you're gonna see some trippy shit.
But it's
That's
gonna be
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
It's
My
not gonna be a
house-
scary death.
Yeah.
My
I was
house
a little
in
bit that way when I
college.
was watching your set.
Cool.
That's the goal.
Imagine a house that is our set.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My house in college, I went to school in New Paltz, which is not that far from here, and there's a very DIY music scene there as well. And I was working at a music venue there, and I was living with one of my girlfriends and 4 of our dude friends, and they were all in bands, and we lived in like a 4-floor house. We had a basement, and the boys were all in bands, and they built a stage in our basement, and we had a bar in the living room. We'd have DJs
Yeah.
on the bar. Me and Lindsay would be dancing on the bar, pouring liquor into people's mouths. And we'd have bands in the basement, and it was an open party. Anyone on the street could just walk in,
That's cool.
and it was sick.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Very good
So
times.
those videos of you guys
Dennis has
playing that woke up video, that like reminded me of my house.
Yeah.
They had great
Verified.
parties.
I'm
Almost
pretty
always
sad. I'm pretty sad we missed
Oh
out
my
on
god,
that
they're
house.
great parties.
We should go right now.
Was this associated with
Yeah.
the Pirate House?
Yeah, so our house, we had a name too. It was
This was
called
the Pirate
Pirate House.
House.
We had a pirate flag.
Awesome.
In New Paltz, how you know where the parties are at, or people would name their houses. So we were Pirate House, spelled HAU ... above it S. That was our
German.
house, so you knew if there was a party there.
German pirates.
Yeah, yeah, it was
That's
good.
awesome.
Okay, so that brings up another thing. So I've seen videos of you guys playing basements, playing massive festivals, playing small intimate shows. Do you have any like preference to like what type of show you play? Like playing all these different
That's
vibes?
probably
Show up
different
hard
depending
show,
on.
then we're into it.
Yeah.
If people,
People.
are there,
Yeah.
That's yeah.
We've had house
Is there?
shows that aren't great, and we've had regular shows that are great, and it just depends on how many people show up and who wants to.
Well,
like,
and
have a
the
good time,
energy
yeah.
I agree.
level of people who show up.
Dancing.
Like we've definitely played some really badass shows to like a handful of
Yeah.
like stoked people.
Yeah.
And then I've
Honestly.
played shows in New York City specifically to like 50 people or 60 people who like couldn't have given less of a fuck that we were there, and it's zero fun at all. So it's
Yeah.
like
Is
it
it
all-
hard to keep like you guys have an amazing stage presence, so is it hard for you if the crowd is not
So,
like
To me,
if they're being lame?
one thing I think about the crowd is like in different cities they react different ways.
Yeah.
It just kind of is the mood.
Yeah.
How people are like
Sure.
functioning.
and you
in
have
that
to be
city.
willing to give people space
That's
to
true.
react how they're gonna react.
And so sometimes
Yeah.
we'll play in front of people and, you know, there'll be 50, 100 people and they're reacting and it's all great. And then afterwards, like, we don't really talk to anybody and everyone balls out. And then there's times where we play a show and there's 20 people and they're not moving at all. And they're just sitting there staring at us. And then afterwards, they come up and they say, that was the best show
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
That was like
And
crazy. And you're
they
like,
want to buy merch and they want to hang
really?
out.
Like, I thought you hated us.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
you like
it's
never
so
know.
strange.
Honestly, the less that people are into us, I feel like the better show that we play. It's just like we
it's like,
we work really hard to win you over. You don't like us?
It's like
The
fishing.
Alabama show the
you
other day,
gotta-
the Birmingham show,
Yeah.
where like nobody was reacting to us.
Yeah,
exactly.
it was
We played
crazy.
Well, that was
It
a
was-
big like hardcore punk night or whatever.
Oh,
whatever.
that was Static Age
Oh,
in
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Asheville.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was
That was.
Oh man, and that industrial dude
Yeah.
that played.
Yeah.
Was it after or before? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it definitely. The audience. It's a give and take thing with the audience, but at the same time, like I think we kind of like create a space for each other. Like there are definitely times when you're like, I don't know how this is about to happen. Like I don't know if this is about to be like really awkward or really great or whatever, and you just kind of have to like.
Just be in a
You have to like
meditative
sell
way.
yourself
Yeah.
to the process
Yeah.
of
Show up
what
to
we're
work.
doing. Yeah, show up to work and be like, we came here to do the thing that we believe in and we love, and like I just have to like try really hard.
Well,
and
trust in
maybe
that.
people, and believe in
Trust in
it.
what
That's
we
right.
feel like we're
That's right.
pushing.
It's a little hokey, but it's like
Be authentic.
something that
Yourself.
I've said for
Yeah.
the last few
Hokey
years.
is okay if it's authentic. That's
Well, no.
true.
I'm not saying the show is hokey. I'm saying it's a preface to what I'm about to say. It's a little hokey, but like for a couple of years, and I think I said this to Ryan the other day. Does anybody here know the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner?
I've never heard of it. Can you describe it to me?
Okay, cool.
Love
Scene by scene.
It's pretty hokey.
You mean,
It's
would
pretty
you like
hokey.
me to quote this?
I have this philosophy based off of this very hokey line: if you build it, they will come. And so it's like every day, if you show up and you make the show happen, no matter what the situation is. I've seen rooms go from being 5 people to 100 people in the space of 5 minutes before. Like, I mean, like, it's not so much about what you start with. It's like, I showed up here because I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in this music, and I believe in the power of it to affect people. So it's like, if I show up and do what I am meant to do, even if it's like 2 people or 2,000 people, then like that's the ticket,
That's enough.
realistically, you know? Yeah. If you build it, they will come. I've seen people show up out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know, it's hokey, like I said.
All of you guys.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl
True.
Jones, classic.
I mean, the beginning of our show tonight, there was literally no one in the room.
I didn't think anybody was going to be here tonight.
I was like, cool, we're gonna play a
It's a
show
Monday
to
night.
5
It's a
people.
Monday
I mean,
night
wasn't that
in
the
New
basement
York.
show that
Yeah,
we played
yeah.
in Philadelphia
Work
like a
night.
couple days ago?
I mean, the owner of the bar came
I
in and
was
was like,
impressed.
hey, guest list is totally open, which I've never heard in New
Yeah.
York City ever in my life. He was
Yeah.
like, hey, you can add whoever you want because it's Monday and like we're all just trying to
wanna be here
make
anyway.
stuff
I
happen.
thought it was great.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
it was
was.
great.
That's what I was saying.
It's the best Manhattan
By
show I've ever
by
had,
the
I
end
think.
of it, it was like everyone was
Raging,
here
yeah.
partying and having
There
the
were
best time
people
ever. But like
I had a blast.
songs,
when the show when we were like plugging in our instruments and sound, I was like,
Yeah. I missed the opener. So
I was like,
don't know
I
what that
think
There were literally
everyone
like
might not
7
come.
people here.
It's a little early.
If
you guys
even
started
that,
at 8.
yeah.
It's a little early, and it's a Monday. But everyone who did come, like, we
They
were like
showed-
raging.
Yeah,
I was singing into
It was awesome.
people's face. Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
I think it was perfect.
Oh, we had so much fun.
Yeah, that was so cool. The like, can I talk about the alien?
No.
No, we don't talk
We
about
do not speak of the alien.
All right, are we
Not
circling
until
back around to this Area
September
51 shit?
20th.
Because that's exactly where
Because
what I was
that's when we
trying to
start
bring up
talking about
earlier.
aliens.
Okay, I'm not sure when this
No,
will
you can
actually
talk about
air,
it.
but I'm hoping sooner. So maybe we will
We-
arrange check
No,
for
those
You
aliens.
can
people
talk about it.
attacking
We were
Area
kidding.
51, they don't know where the real aliens are. It's right
It's
here.
right here.
Yeah.
Jerry
There's
controls
an alien in it.
We're gonna go and play the storm that
Yeah.
Area 51
we are. We are.
Yeah.
right?
We talked about that
we
already.
were talking about
We were
going
like,
to
that would be
Roswell
funny.
and like just setting up
There's
like
gonna be
generators and
there's gonna be
amps and shit
100,000
and
people
just-
there on September 20th. So we
There's
should go.
Where?
There's
There's
an
over
event.
a million signed up.
Yeah.
You need a
There's an
band.
event at that event.
There's-
What is
there's
the
a-
event?
Because
So like all these people
It hit
signed
the
up
fan.
on Facebook
Yeah, I
to
know.
go
400,000.
storm Area 51 to try to discover them aliens.
Listen, we're gonna
I mean, there's people. It's become like an absurdist joke where people are like, I'm talking about clapping alien cheeks.
Yeah.
Is like
I
it's
still
become
don't know what that means, but I think
What
it's
does
that.
I think it's getting an alien girlfriend.
Yeah. I think it's
I mean, like,
It's nerve wracking
Yeah.
to think they're going to show up to Area 51 on September 20th.
between 2 and 4 a.m. and like storm Area 51.
They're probably
because they
all
can't
going to get
kill
shot
all
down
of
by
us.
the Air Force.
It's literally like the premise of this entire
Why do I
thing.
not know that?
It's
Look it up.
You know of it on Facebook or Instagram.
Are you not looking at that right now?
It's been a
Right now,
It
I'm
started
living-
happening like this past week, so it's
Okay. Right now, I'm living at a yoga institute in a trailer
keep
in the
living there.
woods
Yeah,
with no
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
don't-
Stay there.
Actually, don't look it up. You're
Can we
right in a
come
good
live with
spot.
you?
Yes, please. There's room in my trailer for everyone.
But we're thinking about showing up to
Yeah,
Area 51 and playing
Throw on
set
a
for all
dope
these
concert.
people
That sounds
that are
cool.
about
Bring the
to-
alien costumes.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
Yeah, exactly. We're
Look at
gonna
exactly
bring
what
them
they
out.
They're gonna save you,
They're
Jerry.
like, oh wait, it's cool. You guys dress like Secret Service people.
They'll see an alien.
And I'll be the alien. And like, we gotta get him back in. This guy got out. They'll be like,
maybe
all right,
we'll
they're
air
cool.
this
Let
after
them in,
that
but not those
event.
people.
Pending.
You want to be safe. We're not playing
Okay.
that.
The magic of editing.
Everybody be quiet.
That sounds very cool. Okay. All right. I also want to talk about more songs on the new album because I really love the color/sweat. How do you call it? Do you call it color
Color
sweat?
sweat,
Color
yeah.
sweat. I love that.
Cherry bomb on that song.
Yes.
Okay,
the
tell us
song
all
where
about
you
the
scream.
cherry bomb.
Yes, a
Yeah.
cherry bomb.
What is a cherry bomb? Jerry.
It's like an
Is
amp.
it over here?
It's
back.
over
It's right
there.
It's right there.
It's an amp with like an old crappy like multi-guitar effects pedal on it.
I mean, it's a crappy amp with a crappy pedal strapped on it, used in the most like
Epic way
volatile,
ever.
brutal way that
Yeah.
anything like that has ever been used to be.
But yeah, it's an amp that gets strapped to my chest and pretty much just scream into it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. It was
Feels
great.
good.
It was great.
Were you set to kill or stun tonight?
It was on Kill tonight.
Kill.
It was on kill.
It's always kill.
I really-
I never asked that
It
question.
was stun yesterday. That's what I asked over the mic. It was.
Well,
I
it was
asked-
a kids show.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
We
Yeah.
always stun.
Yeah.
Well,
No, last night was a
we
kids
played
show.
we played a private party in DC yesterday.
An
that
actual
was
kid
like,
show.
Well, there were a
When
bunch
the
of
kids show,
kids.
there were a
It was
lot
like-
of kids.
It was like
there.
a backyard party that this woman who had seen us at South by a couple
Aw.
times threw for us specifically.
Oh,
and
wow.
like
That was
built a
super
stage
helpful.
and
That's so
brought in a
sweet.
PA and everything.
It was really
Cool.
But the whole front row was like
38
3-year-olds.
children
Yeah.
between
That's
2-year-old, 2
5
3-year-old.
They get
They're
down.
like-
They get down.
Yeah.
No,
Our kids.
the reason
Some
I
of them were like partying, and some of them were like.
One of the kids was
oh
One
man,
kid was
They
like
only
doing
like
yoga
flagged.
there, I said.
Yeah. This one little girl was like down dog with the leg up, like 3-leg dog.
My most favorite thing about the whole thing was that
She's got
you would look out in the audience, you would look out there, and there would be 28-year-olds, 8 to 12-year-olds, but they had the faces on them just like some of the 20-year-olds at festivals who
Yeah.
were sitting in the front
Oh,
row like
yeah.
this.
Jerry and I
Yeah.
were definitely talking about the similarities
Yeah.
between like
Yeah. That's so
Fessy,
cool they were there. Yeah.
Fessy
Yeah.
Wawoos and
Yeah.
like these
8-year-olds.
like
Yeah.
3 to 6-year-olds.
A
there's-
You're
very
like,
small distance between the
I mean,
two.
there's something to be said for like mushrooms giving you, or like any of those psychedelic drugs. to
like
sort of
the
give you that,
best
like,
thing about
childlike
them is
state.
it turns you into a little baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your inner
Yes.
child. So I was
Please.
working as a nanny for 2.5 years before this, and
What age group of kids?
he was 3 when I started. Now
Okay.
he's 6. The sweetest little boy ever. I love him so much. And I went to 3 music festivals with him. His parents are super cool. They're like my other family, like my best friends. Being at a festival with a child was a first experience for me.
Totally.
We went to 3 festivals and we would take turns.
Which
I'd
ones?
watch him. We were in Oregon, so we went to first Pickathon,
Cool.
which was sick.
Yeah,
Charles Bradley played.
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
I just
Rest-
did a Charles
It was one of his
Bradley
last
tribute
shows.
show.
Rest in peace. I love him
He played
so
Utopia
much.
Festival. We were talking about
I got
that.
to
I
play
love
with
him
him
so much.
in this small town in Texas called Denton, Texas, and he played a couple hours after us, and it was
Yeah. It was one of his last
Truly
shows I saw.
life-changing.
He was amazing. He did like 2 outfit changes, swung the microphone around, was on his knees singing at one point at the end of his show, had a bundle of roses he handed out to people in the crowd.
Talk
The
about
Screaming Eagle.
He's amazing.
talking about
Screaming Eagle.
I love him so
Talk about one of the most genuine performers of the last
amazing.
like.
And his career
few
started very
decades.
late in his life.
Mm-hmm.
He started as a James Brown impersonator.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw the documentary about
Yeah,
him as well.
amazing.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
what a guy.
He was wearing an all gold velvet, like 3-piece jumpsuit, took his jacket off, threw his jacket across the stage. held his microphone, swung it around a couple times, fell on his knees and like held his head back and screamed into the microphone, and then went out and did an outfit change and came back with the bouquet of roses and handed them out.
Awesome.
So yeah, Pickathon was awesome. And they had composting toilets, which is very cool.
Super cool.
And
Amazing.
0 like plastic plates and forks. What you had to do was like at the beginning of the festival, you paid $10 to get a like reusable bowl.
So cool.
They had sporks, wooden bamboo
ACL
sporks.
needs to do all
And
that.
so every
Right
food
away.
vendor, none of the food vendors had like
You had to hand
like,
them your
containers.
thing.
You gave them your bowl. They fed you in your bowl. It was like a bowl plate that was like really
Genius.
wide. When you were done eating, there was a dishwashing station. You gave them the bowl. They gave you a wooden token. You don't even have to wash it. They washed it for you, and then your next meal, you'd bring the token, get a clean bowl.
That's maybe the coolest thing.
Genius.
Holy
No one wants to clean up
Pickathon, Oregon.
It's sort of
So good. So
on a-
eco-friendly.
That is
on
really
a
cool.
farther
Composting
level,
toilets, reusable plates, and sporks.
That's pretty amazing.
On a larger level, it
Amazing.
reminds me of that Arkansas festival that we played that had solar panels that were
Yeah.
powering the stage.
Stage.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
it was like
What was that festival?
it was like kind of near Mulberry Mountain, which is where they used to
What's that?
throw
The one we
Wakarusa
played in the middle
back
of
in
the
the day.
night.
Okay.
It wasn't backwoods.
Backwoods?
No,
it
it's not backwoods. It was
Oh,
like
man.
right after.
oh, homegrown festival.
Yeah, that's
Homegrown
right.
festival.
Homegrown
it was
festival.
right after I
You guys
joined the
played that
band.
one?
Super small fest.
Yeah.
In Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to
right
have it
by
in
Mul-
Oklahoma, but they moved it up to Mulberry Mountain,
Yeah,
which
where
is
it
like
rains
where
all the time.
Wakarusa-
But it wasn't on Mulberry Mountain proper though. It was right
Yeah,
off. It was
But
right
it
off.
was like-
that
That was
one
Mulberry Mountain.
Right. It was right off the. It wasn't in the same location.
No,
as
not
Wakarusa.
not in the same location,
Backwoods.
but on the
No,
same
Backwoods was
mountain.
the one that we did.
That wasn't
there.
like where you went up the road and it was like right where the parking lot was, and then right up the street was Wakarusa.
It wasn't the same.
No.
You had to like go to a different ground
Yeah.
to go to.
Yeah,
It was Mulberry Mountain, but it wasn't the same location.
Okay.
as Wakarusa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one. So I went to that one, and then Beloved was a world music festival. So it was a yoga and spiritual music from all over the world. There was
Like
no
Papadocio or
alcohol
lettuce or something?
served. Fanafiala played. They're like a Sufi band.
Sweet.
So it was all like spiritual music. There was 24-hour kirtan one day. I don't know if you know what kirtan is.
No,
It's
what's
like
that?
spiritual music that is like singing.
Was it a full on
It's
like
what?
Hari
Call and
Call and
response.
response singing.
It's
Yeah.
chanting in Sanskrit.
It's chanting
Okay.
in Sanskrit, call and response to like the deities.
Should we do some?
There you
So
Was it a Hare
beautiful and
Krishna
meditative. Yes,
I mean,
a lot
that's
of
very
Krishna.
common.
Yes, yeah. And there was no alcohol served, which
And the
was a
entire
really
festival.
beautiful vibe. Yeah, you could bring your own. So like we had wine a couple nights, but
Everyone
not
wanted
having
it.
alcohol served, and it was very family friendly.
The broham.
It was a really like good vibe. There was like a lot of ecstatic dance. I don't know if you know about that. That's like
Certainly.
no drinking, no substances, no talking, and it's usually early in the morning, and it's just like dancing and pure ecstasy, like naturally and really beautiful. So we went to that one as well, and then we went to the Eclipse Festival, Oregon Eclipse.
Ooh.
So the eclipse was in totality in Oregon, and it was like 14
When it
festivals.
traveled across like Oregon and like Tennessee
Like
and like
you
the
could
middle
look
of the country.
into it. The
Yeah.
sun and moon were directly aligned, and you could look directly at the eclipse and
It's
see.
like
It was
2-ish
like
or 3-ish
it was
years
at
ago?
9 a.m. in the morning.
or like
went-
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2
Like
years
somewhere
ago.
about there, yeah.
Yeah. So we were on like I was working as a nanny, and we were on this like festival circuit. So
Awesome.
the eclipse was the last one we did, but like being with like a little kid at a festival was like so sweet. Like I would get him a slice of pizza. We would like, go watch a band, and he would like dance with the pizza, and we'd like dance together, and
When was the no talking?
it was so sweet. Ecstatic dance. There's no
ecstatic dance.
talking. Yeah,
That's an interesting.
yeah. It's a good rule because then you're just in your body.
Yeah.
And
like that.
you're not
There's
having
no
side
thought
conversations.
about, like,
yeah,
oh,
you're
am I
just
gonna
feeling
talk
the
to this
music,
The
and
waking
your
up in the
body's
morning
just
thing is
reacting.
cool, too, 'cause it's
Up
like,
early.
It gets everybody on the level.
Yeah. Being up early is so
It's
energizing.
hard to stay sober through the whole night.
No, in the
sometimes.
morning, yeah.
Yeah.
In the morning,
I
it's
mean,
so energizing.
it sort of harkens back to like the original Woodstock when they had yoga in the morning, like before the festival would actually go on. I remember
Yeah.
seeing videos of that happening as well.
That's so nice to have.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, okay. But I want to go back to the new album again. And I want to bring up, I was reading on your Facebook, you were talking a little bit about the title track, Color and Sweat, how it came from a dream.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to hear more about that.
So we played this show. So we were on a tour, and it was this. Our van broke down the first half of the tour in
When was that?
in St. Louis. This was in 16. We played this. We played some festival in Arkansas. I can't remember it now. Backwoods Festival in Arkansas, and then we had some acoustic shows lined up that were part of So Far Sounds. And we played, our van broke down in between Nashville and St. Louis, like really broke down
I mean,
to
it was
the point.
lucky that we had acoustic shows.
Yeah,
after that,
it was
Wait,
like
because
kind
of
of
the
a,
show?
yeah, because it was a miracle
we all had
because
to pack our acoustic stuff only, so we didn't have to take all the other
all
stuff.
grabbed all of our acoustic stuff, piled
You
in a
left the van.
Suburban,
Yeah.
left the van, a tow person.
With a bunch of our like good equipment in it.
Oh,
we had to
like
leave it all.
literally all of our
10
equipment.
In a parking lot in Ferguson.
And so we grabbed all of our equipment, piled in this Suburban, did this acoustic tour, and in St. Louis that first night, we played this show, and it was great. And then we stayed with this girl. She was like, "You can stay in my house with us." And so we go to her house, and she's like, "You can sleep." She's like talking to me. She's like, "You can sleep in my bed with me." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. Like, yes, I will take your bed. It's been
Yeah.
a very long."
Yeah, you've been a
24
van. You've been
hours.
a van a long time.
So I'm like getting, so I don't know, I had this dream, and it was, I mean, like, it feels like cliche to talk about because it's literally like the lyrics of the song, but it was like I was laying in her bed and I opened my eyes and like all these people from the show that we played were looking down at me, like staring at me. Really big eyes. They're like, "What's happening?" And I keep like trying to tell them like I'm just asleep, like I'm just here in this bed, I'm asleep, and they're like not hearing me
understanding.
at all. So that's where like unnoticed though I speak, unnoticed though I speak. Like
I've had dreams
comes
like that
from-
too, where like my communication's not happening.
You're just like so doing it and no one is hearing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly,
Weird.
like that was like the whole song was just me like laying in this bed and trying to convey why I was there and what I was feeling, and people just like not understanding at all.
Which is so crazy.
Which
'cause
is-
Color Sweat, which is like the most intense, extreme song,
Yeah.
but also like a dream state.
But yeah, in that moment, it was so like
Yeah.
I was so trying to explain myself and so not being heard, which I think is like
you feel like you're
common.
speaking two different languages.
Yeah,
Not being
such
heard,
a common problem.
yet it's so like,
Like, is anyone out there?
Yeah. And so yeah, I really wrote it as like a poem, and I wrote this poem in my journal the next morning. Like everybody went to get coffee, and I was writing this poem, and then I like Lady Gaga just put out Perfect Illusion.
I love Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
Who
I do
doesn't?
too. She
Ever since I
just,
saw her documentary, her
Oh,
like,
yeah,
autobiography
Oh, I haven't seen
documentary,
that yet.
it's
it's
great.
so good on Netflix. She's such a badass.
But she just put out Perfect Illusion music video, and I remember like sitting in the car watching Perfect Illusion music video, and then everyone piling in the car, and I had this like poem that I had written, and then like months later we were doing this exercise in practice where someone would bring like a riff to practice. And Craig brought the and
You need
I
the
just like opened my book to this poem and like started kind of like saying the poem.
I mean,
over
honestly, it was kind of perfect because I even said to you before you started doing that, I was like, I kind of imagine the verses being something more, almost more talked than
Yeah.
sung. And you're like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was good.
So yeah, it just came about in a very natural way.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Baum, like I don't even know how that
Well,
happened.
no, I remember like when the breakdown comes, I was like, I imagine this scream coming like a hardcore song like during the last
we're in the
one.
studio,
and
right?
you were like,
Yeah.
Jerry should do the scream because I was
Yeah.
like, you should do the scream. He was like, no, Jerry should do the scream. I was
He's
like, all
the
right, let's do
screamer.
it. Yeah,
In the
we should
band.
totally do that.
Kitty cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Jerry's
how
from-
Color Sweat came about.
Jerry's from Minnesota.
He knows how to scream
in a basement.
when it's cold. He
you
knows
know?
how to scream.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where the Jerry Bomb really made its debut, was Color Sweat. That's where it currently exists. But we have some new songs in the works where we're like, I feel like the Jerry Bomb could happen
New ones,
here.
new ones that aren't out yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 We recorded a couple songs recently that are not.
spoiler
released
alert.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're coming soon.
More Jerry
I'm-
bombs to come.
I'm very, very excited about the 2 tracks that we just did before we left on this tour, for sure.
Cool. Do you have another album coming out soon?
Nah.
Not an album.
It won't be until next year at the very
Yeah.
So we
least.
put this album out like
Yeah.
a month ago. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're just writing this stuff
Right,
for the new album.
okay.
Down the road.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. I also love all the lyrics too on the new album. That's why we dance. Oh
Yeah.
my god, there's so many reasons to dance.
Yeah.
The words are so good to that one.
Thank
so,
you.
A lot of your songs, I feel like that comes up, like just like love and dancing and peace and positivity and optimism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty like easy to be angry right now.
Right.
So I think giving people a reminder of like why they should feel good is a good alternative
Yeah.
to that.
And dancing is such a way to move energy. And I think if everyone danced more, everyone would feel a lot better.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I definitely know, even when I just like play a show, I know I feel like
I'll say actually I came from dance before I played music. Actually, I like grew up in dance classes with my older brother and older sister. We grew up doing like ballet and tap and whatnot.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Me too.
Is that so?
Yeah.
I definitely have incorporated that into all of the bands that I've played, in that like I naturally choreograph physical movements. Even, I mean, this band is definitely the most blatant
Dancing.
version of that I've ever been a part of, but in any of the old bands that I used to play in, it was always very much like there are movements that keep me anchored to verse 1 versus verse 2, or
Well, I think our bodies are just like, our bodies are so much more expressive and powerful than we give them like space to really be.
Yeah.
So letting them kind of exist free of our like dictative, this is what you should be doing. Now we're walking, now we're putting this on the shelf.
I mean,
now
the
we're
only
doing
people
this.
that, like the only state that people accept bodies in is like swimsuits and shit. Like, what is the best that your body could possibly look?
Yeah.
Or like, that's not really what our bodies are about.
Yeah, they're more for like doing and expressing.
Right. And things can
like,
get stagnant, and like movement, like can be creative, and dancing, like
Absolutely.
shamanic healing is like shaking and stuff like that. Like
Certainly.
gets things to move, and like your energy can totally shift, like just from
I mean,
moving.
If you think about like, you know, like African witch doctors, or like the dances that they have culturally that like are specifically geared towards, you know, different times of the year, like seasonal stuff, you know, dances that are geared towards like healing people and things like that. Yeah, I mean, obviously movement has been a huge part of like the human species in general and its development, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wait, I want to talk to you about your outfit tonight because it's amazing. A tutu with like glow in the dark.
This is the portion where the band asks
Yeah.
you guys.
We're now
The tables are turning.
we're turning it around right now.
This is your outfit's amazing, and I love it.
He walked
Yeah,
in.
good
He
job.
walked in, and I pointed him out. I was like,
"That's a friend."
You are who I need in my life
That's a
tonight."
friend.
Like,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you for being
I
here.
always appreciate people who dress up. Awesome.
I feel like we connected
I styled
when
the
you
friends
walked in.
tonight.
Thank
I
you.
have a trunk of fun dance clothes, and
We call it the play date.
they're all
closet.
down. Yeah, yeah. The tutu. came from the venue I work at. Giving a shout out, BSP in Kingston. I bartend there, and on Halloween this past year, I usually bartend behind the main bar, but this year they asked if I would want to be a shot fairy. Which I don't know if there's a job more perfect for me.
Yeah, it sounded like from your bar standing.
So I was standing behind the bar. I had a little
old school Betty Boop cigarette
a little
container.
Container that strapped on.
Nice.
And I had a tutu and fairy wings, and I was like the little shot fairy that would like.
Do you want to make your night more awesome right now?
I was in the middle of the dance floor, like raging with everyone else. I sold over 400 Jello shots.
How many did you? Just Jello shots.
Jello shots!
See,
Jello shots is the only shots I give
I sold every
about.
single Jello shot that we made.
That's awesome.
And I also had little test tubes of Fireball, which isn't my favorite thing to take shots of, but people really enjoy it.
I lost 2013 to Fireball. I think realistically, that was a time in my life.
So that's where the tutu came from.
You also have 80s fitness video fitness instructor leggings on, which are pretty awesome.
Dude, is that like an actual workout that you're doing?
Probably.
We're all yogis. When we were during the show, after the show, we all in between your set and Leanna's set, we were all doing some yoga poses. And we're like, all right, this is what happens when yogis go to festivals and shows.
Actually, honestly,
we just want to
probably
stretch.
need a yoga session after our set to let people relax and calm down. It'd be a really good idea.
Totally.
I could have
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you got a good happy baby.
She's a very happy baby.
That's amazing.
I remember one
She's
yoga
so
class
good.
I went to where after Happy Baby, she did invite us
let
to
it out.
whiny, complaining baby. And I was like, thank you for giving us this recognition.
Some of us are
realistic baby.
Sometimes you need permission.
Yeah.
There was the Yoga Institute we work at, there was this drummer performer one day, and before his performance, it was all seated. So we showed up, and I'm expecting African drumming. I'm planning to dance, but there's all these seats set up. Yeah, there's all these seats set up. So I'm like, oh, is this gonna be a seated thing? And the very first thing he did was all right, right now I'm just gonna give everyone permission. You can dance. He was like, okay, everyone, before you even start, stand up. Start shaking. It's shake your arms, shake your chest, shake your legs, shake everything. And he literally had to give everyone permission. And afterwards, I was talking to him.
Sometimes that's all people need is permission to
they need
be
permission.
crazy.
They just need to be told they can let loose.
I think that's something.
And
That's what we're trying
afterwards,
to
he
do.
said there have been times he's played shows, and people have felt too restricted to get up and move, but he could see them kind of twitching, like they want to dance, but they're just not letting out. So he's like, now at my shows, I give people permission. Once they have permission, they get up and they move.
I think
I find that people feel that way at our
Sometimes
shows.
they just, not everyone, I will let loose, I give myself permission, but not everyone is there.
Yeah.
You already know
not
that.
everyone's there.
We had
So to give them permission's really opening.
We had a couple shows after the 2016 presidential election, where people came up to us afterwards I really needed that right now because of what's been going on lately.
Yeah.
It's actually made. I mean, I don't know how it made you. I don't know if you heard that from anybody, Carrie.
Yeah.
But I heard that from several people. And it's just really important that that's how we're affecting people if they're really sad about the
to
way
give
things
people
are.
the space
Yeah,
to
exactly.
exist. And I think that's to me the value in the show and the extravagance and the absurdity is to give people space to know no one's looking at me. I can exist, I can be wild, I can be totally insane, and I have the space to do this in this moment. And I think that's really valuable, giving people space to be I don't have to be afraid of what anyone thinks of me in this moment, because pretty much all the time everyone is thinking how am I being perceived?
Right.
How am I being judged?
Not
How am I
everyone
being...
is looking.
And they need it, and I always have
Can be
this
too heady.
this laughy joke about when you're needing to believe that people care about you and love you, but also needing to believe that they don't care. And you're
They're not watching.
what
They're
is
not
the fine line
analyzing,
between
judging.
no one loves
There's
me
love
and
but
no
no
one
judgment.
cares, and no one's judging me?
Yeah, there's love but no
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the difference.
Giving permission. That was cool. Okay. Another thing I'm just interested in. Do you guys have any like pre-show rituals you do? Like.
No, we used to have one that we don't do anymore.
We haven't done it once on this tour.
We haven't been doing it.
Ryan has not been with us yet.
It's hard because right now in our lives, in our lives as a band, like we sometimes are playing a show where it's like you plug your stuff in, it's like time to play, or
There's no time.
After driving all day.
But I'm glad you reminded us because I feel like this is going to kick it off again. Like I think we're next show.
Ryan, sometimes before shows,
hold on. 3D breaths.
we do these like. We get in a circle, we put our arms around each other, even though we all
Should we do this right now?
Yeah.
All right.
We can show you how
We're
it's
already in a circle, but we're going to get in a tighter circle.
So everyone just puts their arms around each other, and so what we do is we breathe out on 3.
We're doing it after set.
You kind of a sweaty back and forth.
No, it's whiskey.
Oh, it's whiskey.
It's whiskey.
Pretty rare. It's not sweat. It's whiskey.
So basically, you put your arms around each other. We're gonna breathe out on the count of 3. Breathe everything out, and then we're gonna take 3 really deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth.
Hold the third one.
On the third breath, we're gonna hold it in at the very top. We're gonna swallow it into our bellies, and then very slowly we're gonna let it out. So here we go. Pull it out on 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one, hold it at the top. Into your belly.
Swallow it. Well, slowly.
Wow.
Then sometimes we do this afterwards.
Wait.
You haven't done it in a while.
I've never done that. Okay, go for it.
You gotta hold. Y'all gotta hold.
Never done that.
So you gotta hold each other up.
You gotta hold me up.
Okay.
Oh, one person. Whoa, you got like a wave.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. All right, do it, Jerry.
One person at a time.
One
We're
person.
jumping
Each
up
other
and up. Holding your legs.
Have you ever tried all doing it at once?
Oh.
No, you have to have your arms under everybody, so you can't all do it at once.
Let's jump. Let's all jump. Arms over.
Now you got it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Ryan's like,
Yeah,
do it.
Got it. Bear.
You got it, Jerry.
Yeah.
Ryan's like, what the fuck?
And then this is Joe's personal side.
Joe's thing.
Oh
Put
yeah.
your right hand
This is the
in.
right
This is the
and we're
prankster
gonna
handshake.
curve and like that.
Curve your right hand.
That's my thing.
Thank you.
So yeah, we used to do that before every show. Sometimes it gets really like busy and you don't get a chance to, you don't have a moment to yourself. You just kind of have to go.
Yeah.
But that's like the
We haven't been making a point of doing it lately.
Yeah,
Maybe
we should.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that'd be good.
Reset
for
the
us.
intention.
Thank you.
Oh, cool.
I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for letting us be part of that.
Post vocal warm up.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
We do vocal warm-ups before every
How does
show.
that go? La la la
It's
la la
nerdy.
la la.
We
It's,
don't
uh,
need
it's
to
super
share it.
Yeah. We're like, go shut ourselves off in the car.
Yeah, we like hide away.
Yeah.
No one needs to hear
It's
what we're doing.
nerdy. We just
Individual.
do it. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for
Alright,
having
I guess
us.
the last question.
Are we far away from the recorder right now?
Back to the floor.
What's up?
We're back.
Back to the circle. Okay, so I'm still like working this part out, but like the theme is like glitter and sage. Those are like my ingredients that make my spirit ignited, like dancing live music, the glitter. and like meditation and yoga, the sage. Like, so do you guys have like any ingredients that just like totally ignite you that are important that you need to incorporate?
I don't want to be a total dweeb, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like, this is not promotional at all, but I do feel like color sweat is kind of like where that kind of came from.
Yeah, it's kind of our glitter and sage.
It's like, it's got like the color and like
sweat.
Yeah, it's like so similar, and that's like what our show is, and that's what keeps us like going. I kind of feel like, so even though it's the name of our record, it's totally unrelated.
I saw a lot of color, and I did sweat a lot during your set.
And we sweat a whole lot, and I don't know, color sweat seems like fitting ingredients for who we are.
It really is a good culmination of what we do.
Yeah, I think that's why we named the record that. So
amazing.
Color sweat.
Amazing. Okay, cool. All right.
Dorky.
I love it, and I felt it, and I saw all of it. I saw the colors. I sweat a lot during this set. Okay, so Calliope Musicals here. This was amazing. Thank you guys so much.
You're also like the first person in a month that's their name right.
That's what I was saying. She not only got our name right, but said all of our
musical is the most interesting thing I've ever heard.
It is definitely Calliope.
It's very close.
Is that the name?
It's possessive.
It's possessive. Calliope's musical.
Okay, I mean, as far as a little about what the name means.
Oh, Calliope Musical. You said it correct.
Yeah,
Calliope Musical.
Well, it's also Calliope is one of the 7 muses in Greek mythology. Her name is Beautiful Voice.
Beautiful Voice.
And she's the goddess of epic poetry.
The goddess of epic poetry.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It doesn't even sound real when you say it like that.
I know.
It's like you just made
So
that
amazing.
I'm a liar!
She made that up on the spot.
Yeah.
I can't believe twice
All
in
right,
a
and
week.
so where can we find you?
Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud.
The now defunct iTunes.
All the things.
The now
Wait, iTunes is when
iTunes is done as of like a month ago.
Oh, really?
Really?
It's all Apple Music.
Yeah, iTunes is no
Oh,
longer.
Apple Music. Okay, I was like about to say Apple's not doing it.
No, Apple has not ceased and desisted as a company.
They changed the name.
We're highly findable. No one
I'll
else is
put some
called
show
Calliope
notes with
Musicals.
all the different places to.
Oh, and places.
Yes.
I don't know when it's airing, so I don't
Yes,
want to
me
give
either.
you weird.
Pending, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Love
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Can't
much.
wait for the next show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This was great.
That was awesome.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in to the Glitter and Sage podcast. The intro music is from the song Drishti by my beautiful friends Cosmal. That's COSMAL. Be sure to check out their amazing music, art, and mindfulness videos. And also big love to my creative partner, David Atwood, who does all my sound engineering and video editing. Thank you, David. You can check out his music under his DJ name, Mr. Atwood, ATWOOD. And you can follow me on Instagram at glitter.and.sage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast. I hope your day is filled with so much magic. See you next week.